Hello, everybody. Happy Motivational Monday to you. I am the official urban therapist. I appreciate you tuning in today. Today, I want to talk to y'all about another one topic that I deal with through my line of work that I do, which is on social work. But before we get into the topic, I always like to acknowledge everyone who's in the house today. I appreciate Miss Queen; she's in the house. I appreciate you tuning in, and we also got the Lisa D show as well. I appreciate you tuning in as well, ma'am, to this interesting topic that I'm feels great to share with you today. Now, let me ask y'all this question, okay? Have you ever just poured out all your positive energy towards a person, and you do it consistently every single day, every single minute, every single moment? You pour out positive affirmation towards a person. You give them positive words every single moment of your life, right? Then while you pouring out all this information and you just giving them this information to help motivate them, to help encourage them, have you ever felt drained after the process? Have you ever felt drained after the process? Maybe this drainage probably don't occur right after the moment when you're doing it. Maybe occur like within time. It may be weeks when you start to feel drained, or maybe even months when you start to feel drained, or it could be even within a year or so when you start feeling drained. But nevertheless, you start feeling drained. Have you ever wondered why that happens or why that occurs? Before I go deep into this, let me explain to you about this drainage process. When I'm saying drain, I'm not talking about just a physical drain. I'm talking about a mental and a spiritual drain, or a mental or spiritual drainage. That's what I'm talking about. Have y'all ever experienced that before? Yeah, Miss Lisa, she said, yeah, she felt more like unappreciated, which that is a part of the drainage as well. Which that is part of the drainage as well, where you're pouring out all this energy, right? All this positive affirmation towards a person, then it feels like that you're not being appreciated for the effort that you're doing. Check this out also too. There's another thing too where you pouring out all this energy and affirmation towards a person, then guess what they end up doing? They end up rejecting. They find any and every little excuse to create excuses to not accept what you're saying. Have y'all ever experienced that before too? Where it seems like no matter what you tell that person, it always be interpreted as something negative. Have y'all ever experienced that? Because through my line of work and just being who I am, I experienced that a lot. Where you pouring out a lot of energy towards people, and one of the two things happen: they accept it, but it be just like what Miss Lisa said. It feels like it's unappreciative. It feel like, in other words, it feel like it's not being reciprocated. And now keep in mind, reciprocation doesn't just deal with deal with platonic relationship, but it also deals with intimate relationships as well. So you could have a friend, a friend or whoever you're with, a friend, coworker, whoever it is and stuff, right? And you pouring out all this energy towards them, and it seems like they're not reciprocating it. They're not help motivating you as well. All they're doing is taking your energy and they acquiring it to their own being, but not returning it back to you. Then when the moment when you feel drained, you try to look for that same type of reciprocation, and that person can return it back to you. And you want to know why that person can return it back to you? The reason why is because that person is known as an energy vampire. There's another name for energy vampire too. The other name is called psychic vampire. but it's still the same thing. That person is an energy vampire. But what they do is that they take your mental and spiritual energy and acquire it to their own. They're acquired to their own being to boost their ego, to boost their confidence, without accepting accountability for any type of negative actions. That's what energy vampires do. And so they'll suck on your energy all the way until you be depleted and you be drained. That's what energy vampires does. So today on this Motivational Monday, I want to talk to y'all about that. I want y'all to be very vigilant and beware of energy vampires. Beware of these type of people that are out in your space. Beware of them and understand that they exist, and understand that some of these people who resemble this type of behavior, that at the end of the day, they do not want to take any type of accountability for their actions, period. It's not even in them to take any type of accountability for their actions. So we're gonna talk about that briefly on this lunchtime conversations. First of all, let me go ahead and share with y'all just some quick characteristics of an energy vampire. Right, I'm gonna go ahead and share this with y'all real quick, and we're gonna dive deeper into this conversation. Okay, so let me go ahead and blow this up real quick so y'all can see this. All right. And that's how I already did. Y'all already blew it up. Let me do this. I'll put it like that. All right, cool. Now these are some of the signs that a person is an energy vampire, and I just pulled this up. I just Googled it, but there are different levels to this sign. I Googled this, and I've seen people who describe 8 characteristics for an energy vampire and different things like that, which that is fine. But I particularly pulled this one because this is the most simplistic one that I've seen out there, and I can explain it to you real quick, okay? So these are the signs that you're dealing with a person who's an energy vampire. The first sign is that they feed on your willingness to listen to them. I want y'all to pay attention to this because this is very, very, very important to you. They feed on your willingness to listen to them. It's not that they feed on the willingness for you to listen to them. I mean, listen to you, sorry. For them to listen to you. They feed on the willingness so you listen to them. Now, why is that important? Why is that so? It's because, once again, like I stated earlier, one of the characteristics of energy vampires or psychic vampires, what they do is that they want you to feed into their ego. They want you to boost their ego. A lot of people who resemble this type of behavior, you could also say that they have like narcissistic characteristics or narcissistic traits. And we all know throughout this year, we all been throwing around this word about narcissism and about people being narcissistic in their behavior stuff. So I'm pretty sure y'all understand what the characteristics of a narcissist. So these are energy vampires. They resemble this type of narcissistic, egotistical behavior where they want you to boost their ego. And the conversation normally goes like this. They'll have this like victim like mentality, right? Where it be like, man, I don't understand why people doing this to me. All I'm trying to do is this and that and that, and play this victim role, right? I don't understand why they doing this to me. I don't understand why they doing that to me. But they playing this victim role, but it's not so they can want to take accountability. It's for you to boost their ego. It's for you to pamper them and say, you know what, I understand how you feel and stuff, and I agree with that. That's what they want. And that's how they start draining your energy, because your whole purpose of dealing with them is that you're trying to once again pour out positive affirmation and everything like that towards them. And they love that. They love that type of energy because it's not helping them other than boosting their ego. And that's it. And when I'm talking about ego, I'm not talking about ego in the positive sense. I'm talking about ego in a negative sense, where you're being arrogant. You're being self-centered. That's what I'm talking about. So that's what they do. That's one of the characteristics. And the second, pay attention to the second characteristic too. It says that they always be involved in drama. They always be involved in drama, period. So have you ever dealt with someone where you try to quote unquote be a brother or a sister keeper towards them, and you start pointing them into the area of certain situations or certain behaviors that they do to try to promote accountability for them? But even though you point them towards that direction, hey, this is a certain area that you need to work on with yourself. You need to be held accountable for this situation. What they do is that not only they play this victim role, but also they contribute to the drama. In other words, they feed into it. Even when you tell them about that, they literally feed into the drama. They end up creating situations to keep the drama going instead of trying to promote solutions and to push forward. This is characteristics of what energy vampire does. They always be involved in the drama, and they always try to promote and push the narrative of the drama while trying to be the victor role, while getting their ego boost and everything like that as well. Which does bring us to the next characteristic. To the next characteristic, say they always diminish your problems and play up their own. Once again, they diminish your problems and play up on their own. So what are you talking about, Urban, on this one? What are you talking about? Just like I stated earlier, they are less interested in any type of problems that you have. Matter of fact, like I also stated earlier, they're not the ones who are going to try to reciprocate. They're not going to be the ones who are going to try to pour back positive energy into your being as well. They're not going to be the ones who are going to want to give you words of affirmation or encouragement. And it's all due to their ego, this negative ego. And so instead of them doing that, they're always going to flip the script and try to play up on they own, because they only want you to be focused on them and them alone, period. Another name for this, I just thought about this. Another name for this, so y'all can look this up. It's called the reverse polarity concept. Now, the reverse polarity concept is that if you could take a certain type of energy and flip it and make it reverse or flip it upon itself, then the person who reverses it is now pushing whatever type of energy back into that person who originally started bringing out the energy to begin with. So that's what they call the reverse polarity concept, right? Now, the other part of this too is that they use guilt trips or ultimatums. Now, this part here, this is also very important as well, because these type of energy vampires, that's what they do. They put you in a guilt trip. When you try to confront them about certain things they need to be held accountable for, instead of them at least considering it, what they do, they try to flip it back on you. They try to flip it back on you and try to point different negative behaviors about you. They'll say, well, you do the same thing. Or you just as human as I am, so you have negative things too. Or the biggest thing that they use is that all of us have skeletons in our closet, including you. So you think you just holier than thou, or you think you're better than me. So here's my ultimatum: either you're gonna accept me for the way I am, or I'm going to leave. Dealing with the ego again. I'm going to leave. I'm no longer going to be your friend. And they use this type of guilt trip because you trying to be a friend to them. You're showing concern to them, and you don't want to sever the connection that you have with them. And they bank on that because they know that you don't want to sever that connection from them. So they bank on that, and that's when they give them type of ultimatums. Either you're going to see this thing my way, or I going to leave. And this brings me to the final point, which is they act like a martyr. They act like a martyr. In other words, in reality, they say that you be acting like you're holier than they are, or you act like you're better than them, but in reality, it really be them who act like they're better than you. It be them who act like they're more superior than you. They act like that. They act like that they cannot do wrong, period. It ain't nothing you could tell them that they could do is wrong, period. So they're not going to take no accountability for their actions or anything like that. No type of accountability. But however, they'll go back and try to point every type of flaw within you. Oh, you don't look right. Or you talk funny. Or you don't dress a certain way. They'll try to find any and every little situation possible to try to flip it back on you so they could continue this victim role, and so they can continue being egotistical as well. And that's what they do. That's what they do. So since Urban is putting all this information out here to y'all about an energy vampire, the question that y'all should be asking yourself now is this: well, Urban, you're telling me about energy vampires and you're showing me the signs of energy vampires. What can I do to prevent myself from dealing with energy vampires? What can I do? What can I do? That's a good question, and I'm going to give you the answer to that. The very first thing is the obvious solution, which is you have to have a discernment within yourself, within your being, to know that you're dealing with an energy vampire. You. That's the first step. Now, keep in mind, sometimes energy vampires, they can be real crafty in their understanding. They can be very crafty. There are some energy vampires, they're very good at being an energy vampire, that they can disguise it until it's too late, until you're totally drained, and next thing you know, you are now becoming an energy vampire. So you have to have a level of discernment to know that you're honestly dealing with an energy vampire. Well, how can I have this discernment, Urban? Anytime when you point out your positive energy with a person and they not taking accountability for that action, you're dealing with an energy vampire. Period. If you're practicing being the brother's keeper, if you're practicing each one teach one, and the lessons that you're teaching them, and that they're not acquiring it and pouring it back out to other people, including yourself, you're dealing with an energy vampire. Because how the way this thing works is that if I'm sharing information to you, it should be reciprocated back to me. Especially positive energy, especially positive affirmation. Let me put it to y'all this way too, because I know some of y'all are business savvy, right? I'm put it to y'all this way. Imagine you investing. Imagine you investing into me, right? You decide to invest your time and also your financial resources to me to build my brand up, right? Imagine that. And instead of me accepting that, I find any and every little excuse to try to prove that it's not good enough. Bro, $1 million is not good enough. You gotta give me $10 million. You give me $10 million. Bro, $10 million is not good enough. You gotta give me $20 million. The $20 million ain't good enough. Boy, you gotta give me $50 million because this is just not good enough. Then on top of that, I'm sitting up here backbiting. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your brand and your business. Like, oh, they just think they all that just because they gave me $50 million when I know they worth $1 billion, and I feel like I deserve $1 billion because they are $1 billion company. I just feel like they just using me instead of using the resources that they're giving me and acquiring it to myself and learning from it and taking it as a teachable and an accountable moment for me. So I could acquire it and I could pour it not only into my brand, but also push it back out to not only the person who's originally giving it to me, but out to other people as well. Instead of me doing that, I'm just acquiring it to myself. And I'm just draining this company. Next thing you know, the company that's investing into me, they bankrupt because they had put all that energy and resource into my company. Now I'm happy that I'm a billionaire, and here you go coming like, hey, Urban man, look, I done pour all my resources into your brand, and now I see your brand is skyrocketing. You're doing good. The stocks is great and everything. Hey, but my company need help. Could you come back in and help my company? I don't know you, bro. I'm not going to help you. Like, for what? Why? I'm not going to help you. I'm good. You should have been taking some financial classes. How arrogant is that for me to say something like that? But however, that is how energy vampires work. That's exactly how energy vampires work. So to prevent that, first of all, you have to have a discernment that you're dealing with an energy vampire, period. You have to have that type of discernment. And when I say discernment, I know that discernment is more of a biblical term that a lot of people who follow Christianity hear. But discernment could be universal as well. Discernment could be interpreted as intuition. Discernment could also be interpreted as a certain knowledge for not only yourself, but for the conditions that are happening around you as well. That's what discernment is. So you have to have a certain discernment for the things that are happening around you. And you have to pay attention to that. And be real strategic about the type of energy that you give out towards that person. And when you realize that you're pouring out the energy towards that person and they're not taking accountability for their actions, immediately discontinue and disconnect yourself from that energy vampire because they don't mean you no good whatsoever. They do not mean you no good whatsoever. Now I got I'm looking at the chat and everything. I see everyone who's on here right now. I'm acknowledging y'all in 3 minutes, but many of y'all who are in the chat right now are different content creators. Many of y'all in the chat are different content creators, right? Many of y'all have poured out a lot of information towards people within the YouTube sector, correct? So it's very vital, even for your brand, to know when you're dealing with an energy vampire. It is very vital for that. It's very vital for your brand. Now, before I make this other point, And I'm talking to the content creators that are watching me right now, currently. I want to challenge y'all, okay? I want to challenge y'all to reevaluate your brand that you want to bring into the table. I want you to reevaluate that. I want to challenge you to not only reevaluate the brand that you bring it to the table, I want you just to honestly sit down and think about everything your brand is bringing to the table. Everything. Is my brand bringing to the table something that's going to be positive, that's going to want to continue to uplift not only myself and my personal being, but for people around me that also into the social media space as well. Is my brand doing this for people? Is my brand for people? Even if my brand is dealing with making people want to smile or making people laugh or anything like that, is it something positive that's going to help people? That's going to help put people into a certain space where they could be uplifted, they could laugh, and they could be positive. Is my brand doing that? Is my brand something that people could want to feed into and acquire it and to challenge them to take certain accountabilities about themselves? Where they could pour right back out not only to me, but to other people as well who need it? Is my brand doing that? These are some of the things I want you to think about. These are some things I want you to think about. Likewise, say for the others who are not content creators, who are just either listeners to the social media platforms, or you may be like participating in certain brands, which is you may participate either in the chats or you may be even the moderator as well. I want to challenge y'all the same way too. It's the information that you obtaining. Is it helping you? Is it helping you at least get through the day in a positive way? Is it putting you in a space to where whenever you listen to the content, it's helping you? It's like, you know what? I had listened to urban content today, and it's man, I was just going through certain things, and I listened to it, and I laughed about it, and it really helped me through this day because I'm laughing about it, and it's cool, you know what I'm saying? And it's not nothing negative, Is the content that you're listening to and the content that you're participating in, is it helping you in that way? If not, then more than likely you're dealing with an energy vampire within that content. And yes, by the way, content creators can be energy vampires as well too, where they literally take their whole entire brand and created this huge space where they allow people to come onto their brand and draining the energy of the people who's in the chat, draining the energy of people who's different moderators and stuff like that, draining their energy, acquiring to their and not even feeding back to the people in a positive way. And what's sad about this situation, and through my understanding about this, and what's sad about it is that when I was making the example earlier about people who were to invest into me, and I'm just taking their money. Do y'all not realize that is exactly what's happening in this YouTube universe right now? Where people investing into certain content and stuff, they're donating, they're sending super chats, they're sending all these different things, investing into it, and what's been returned instead of a positive return, they're returning back all that negative energy back to them. And now they go out to that space, and now and I'm helping y'all today too. This is the reason why after y'all listen to the certain content, y'all feel a certain way, then you end up going down into your personal life, into your personal space, and you feel like, man, why in the world things is not working out for me? Why in the world I'm attracting all this negative energy? Why is this happening to me? Why is I'm feeling this way? It's because you end up acquiring that energy. Or furthermore, you're allowed that energy vampire to drain your energy, and now you're being manipulated into a space where now you're becoming an energy vampire in your personal space. You're becoming that. So yes, at the end of the day, it's up to you to recognize the discernment of an energy vampire. At the end of the day, it's for you to have them, as you say, spiritual eyes to observe what's going on around you and to make a decision, make a choice if this is going to be beneficial for you or not. And with that, me, I'm saying that it always come back down to personal accountability. Period. Sometimes even with energy vampires, sometimes it's hard for people to literally look their own self in the mirror and to accept accountability for their personal choices or their personal action, especially if it's something negative and it's not nothing that's going to be beneficial to them. It's hard for people to get into that area and that space because it deals with the ego, the negative ego, by the way. That's what it deals with. So you were like, oh, well, Urban, how did you get to this point where you mastered your own ego to where you could accept accountability even for yourself and be cool with it? How I got to this space where I'm at right now, it wasn't just a aha moment. If you think this aha moment was me accept accountability, then yeah, I could take that. But once when I realized there are things that I need to be held accountable for, that's when I started working on myself. I just started working on nobody else. I started working on me, myself. I didn't go and seek for validation from other people or trying to be an energy vampire myself and try to drain people of that energy, try to acquire it to my own ego. No, I took accountability for myself. I started working on myself. I started realizing that it's going to take a process for me to work on my negative ego about myself. I realized that. I realized that it took a process for me to do it, and I was invested into me. And that's another thing too with y'all too. Is that it's very important that you need to be invested into you. It is nothing selfish about investing into yourself. Long as it's in a positive way. There's nothing selfish about that. It is nothing selfish about that, period. So you invest into yourself. You take accountability for yourself. For whatever decisions that you did. And take accountability for that. And start working on that. Working to master that. And it's not going to be just an overnight process. It takes time. But when you're committed to that, when you be committed to that, I guarantee that the end result is that you're going to realize a lot of things about yourself that you didn't even know, but you're going to start realizing about that. Then another big thing too, as I'm going to get ready to finish up, another big thing too is that you cannot take accountability for yourself without help. And when I say help, I'm literally talking about professional help. Yes, Urban is not a licensed psychologist or a therapist. Yes, I'm not. But however, I always, even on my lives, I always recommend that people take accountability and seek some type of therapeutic help. I actually know some therapists that can help people. I actually know therapists that can help people because there's some things that you just cannot do on your own. You need a outside source to literally show you the mirror of yourself. So therefore, they're not forcing you to be something that they want you to be. All they're doing is going to show you the mirror image of yourself in the areas that you need to make a choice and work on yourself. So you won't become this energy vampire. Sorry about that, y'all. It's my dog. But so you won't be this energy vampire. So I want to encourage y'all on this motivational Monday to also reevaluate yourself. This take time. This urban, okay? This human urban real quick, okay? I want y'all to just take a moment just to look at yourself and just examine yourself and see if you are this type of energy vampire. That if you figure that you are, then start going through the process of working on yourself so you could better yourself, so not only you could better yourself, but you could better yourself for not only yourself but for your community as well, for the people around you as well. I appreciate everybody tuning in for this topic, and like always, y'all continue to fight fate with faith, and I will see y'all again for my lunchtime conversation topic. Peace.